Hi, my name is Gangimi. Today, our group presentation topic is there are two tasks. The first task is using the subject of your choice, identify two learning standards that can the best measure with performance assessment method. Explain why. Task 2 is prepare an essay item of 350 words. You don't have to write the essay. Explain the holistic rubric for the item. Okay, before I will proceed, what is the performance assessment? First, we need to know the words perform and the assessment is what meaning. First, the performance meaning is the way a person perform in a play, concert, and so on. While assessment is an opinion or a judgment about something that has been told. Okay, I will explain what is performance assessment. Performance assessment is request students to demonstrate that they have mastered specific skill and competency by performing or producing something. Performance assessment also measures students' higher honest thinking skill, deep understanding of concept, and general inquiry strategy. Performance assessment also provide the teacher with information how students understand and apply knowledge. Performance assessment also involve the demonstration and application of knowledge, skill, works, habits through what is known as a performance task. It is important that the task is meaningful and engaging student. The purpose of the performance assessment is not to be reader and evaluation, but to improve student learning. Okay. Performance assessments have 6 key components, which is basic knowledge, inquiry, explanation, problem solving, representation of knowledge, and metacognition. The first component is basic knowledge. Basic knowledge is determine what fact and detail the student already know. Inquiry observe how the student obtaining information and they applying it is to form hypothesis and interpretation. While explanation is the student demonstrate understand beyond basic knowledge by using factual knowledge to explain concept and principle. Next, problem solving. Problem solving is the student solve the problem and is able to know and is able to explain it how he or she saw it. Next, representation of knowledge is the student ability to choose the most important idea and communicate understanding effectively. The last component of performance assessment is metacognition. Metacognition is student ability to set challenging yet attainable goals and evaluate their own progress. Okay, I will explain types of performance assessment. There are 4 types of performance assessment. The first one is individual or group project. The second one is the portfolio. Portfolio has separate two types, which is working portfolio and showcase or model portfolio. The third one is performance, and the last one is generals. Okay, I will present the advantage of performance assessment. The first advantage is can provide empathize or improving introduction. Performance assessment increase student understanding of what they need to know and able to do it. The next advantage is interesting assessment. Interesting assessment. Performance assessment usually involve real-world tasks. Students tend to find them more engaging and challenging. By doing the performance assessment, students spend many hours engaged in their project or often explore and use source beyond teachers and the textbook. When assessment result is a product or a performance, the student accomplished something that can be proud of. The next advantage is active student learning. The performance assessment can empower students by giving them freedom to make choices. We hit parameters set by teachers about the direction that their learning should take. The next advantage is higher order thinking skills, which are important for success as an adult. The performance assessment brought students to use higher order thinking skills such as analysis, synthesis, and evolution. The last advantage of performance assessment is student enjoyment. Because these assessments are challenging and stimulate real-world experience, students find them interesting and engaging. By performance assessment, students are willing to spend additional time outside of class to complete their project. Okay, the performance assessment also have the advantage. The first, the advantage of performance assessment is too expensive because to complete the performance assessment, student needs to prepare more money to buy some material to complete their project, but the material is not really cheap. Then the next disadvantage is too much time needed to complete, because to complete the performance assessment there are many steps to complete it, so it is waste time. So it is need to add additional times to spend it to complete the project. Okay, from the task 1, using your subject of your choices, identify 2 learning standards can be the best measure performance assessment. So our group chose the subject we choose is Geography Form 1. The content standard of this subject is from 3.2 Sentiment in Malaysia. This topic is explains types, pattern, and function of sentiment in Malaysia. The learning standard of this topic is different type and compare of function of urban sentiment and rural sentiment in Malaysia. The performance assessment in this topic is presentation. The next learning standard is we choose content standard from 4.1 from unit 4.1, and that is Southeast Asia. This topic explains the country name, the landform, and the river system in Southeast Asia. The learning standard of this topic is complete the Southeast Asian map with the country name and elaborate the example of the landform and river system in Southeast Asia. The performance assessment in this topic is presentation multimedia. The explanation, I will proceed this.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very pleasant morning I wish to Dr. Lim and dear friends. My name is Insyirah Wirdani BINTI ISMADI. I'm a first year student from PPIP, majoring in special education, and my number matric is 145938. And today I would like to explain about one of the tasks given, which is using the subject of your choice. Identify 2 learning standards that can be best measured using performance assessment method and explain why. For this task, and for my part, I choose Form 1 Geography as my subject, and I specify the content standard into 3.2, which is settlement in Malaysia. In Bahasa, we call it as pertempatan di Malaysia. And under this content standard, it consists of type, pattern, and function of settlement in Malaysia. Next, I would like to highlight the learning standard from this content standard. Students should be able to discuss the type of settlement in Malaysia, described by using example 4 patterns of settlement in Malaysia, and differentiate the function of urban settlement and rural settlement in Malaysia. Before I go further, these are the standard of achievement that I extract from the annual lesson plan of Geography Form 1, which is describe the types, patterns and function of your surrounding settlement area and suggest how you want to reform your surrounding settlement area into sustainable settlement. This is our suggestion for performance assessment. First of all, we suggest that the teacher can evaluate or assess the student individually and make it as an individual performance assessment. The teacher can ask the student to describe the type, patterns and function of settlement in Malaysia. Next, the teacher can ask the student to differentiate between urban and rural settlement. How the student can do it? The teacher can ask the student to picturize all of the learning standard and portray them in a 3D model form, which in the 3D model, it have to consist of both rural and urban settlement. And students really have to understand the differences between the urban settlement and rural settlement, since they have to picturize or show the differences in the model. Once the student have completed all of the craft work, all of the students have completed their 3D models, the teacher can set one time for all of the students to present their work, their 3D models, and the teacher can make a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. And I suggest that the teacher asks the student on how they built the 3D model and how they differentiate or how they show the differences between the rural and urban settlement in the model, because we want to avoid that the student asking another person to build the 3D model. And from their presentation and their 3D model works, the teacher can evaluate and give mark for the student's performance. These are among the examples of a performance assessment on building a 3D model, and this picture we take it from the Google. And these are another for example that we hope that the students' result will be like this. The reason why we choose this learning standard, which discuss the type of settlement in Malaysia, describe the pattern of settlement in Malaysia by using example, and differentiate the function of rural settlement and urban settlement in Malaysia, to be assessed by using performance assessment method, because first of all, we believe that to be able to make the 3D model, the student have to carefully study, understand, analyze and conclude about the whole learning standard before they are able to make the 3D model. Besides, the student must have a really better understanding about how to differentiate between the urban settlement and rural settlement, since they have to portray their understanding of the differences in their 3D model. Compared to traditional assessment, the traditional assessment only requires the students to memorize their answer perfectly and portray it in their examination. As for the teacher, I think that the teacher can evaluate the students' level of understanding better in this kind of performance assessment, because when the student present, the teacher can evaluate the student in two ways. First, from the craft work, and second, in their presentation, the way they explain and the way they express their opinion regarding this matter. Compared to traditional assessment, the teacher can only evaluate the student's level of understanding through their answer in the examination, which I find quite unfair if it happened that the student who is a bright student, but on that day of examination, he or she fall into sickness or anything like that, and they can't perform well even though they have a better understanding. I think by using performance assessment method, even the student perhaps fall sick during the presentation, but the teacher still can evaluate their craft work, which I think much better than the traditional assessment. I think that's all from me. Thank you for listening. That's all.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is MASLISSA binti MANSOR. I would like to continue our presentation with second content standard. That is Southeast Asia, the country name, the landform, and river system in Southeast Asia. For the learning standard, student should be able to complete the Southeast Asia map with the country name, elaborate the example of the landform and river system in Southeast Asia. Okay, for the standard of achievement, produce creative creation that show originality by using variety of media regarding the landform, river, lake in one of the country in Southeast Asia that be chosen by student. Suggestion for performance assessment, which is a group assessment. Teacher asks the student to make a multimedia presentation regarding the landform and river system in any country in Southeast Asia. After teacher has evaluated the presentation, the teacher can evaluate the level of students' understanding based on the LOs by conducting an activity quiz regarding the topic of landform and river system in Southeast Asia. The mark from the multimedia presentation and quiz will be counted in school-based assessment or PBS. Okay, I will continue with the reason why these LOs has been chosen to be evaluated using performance assessment. Okay, this is because student can only understand this topic with better understanding if they, by themselves, try to find out the information, investigate, analysis, and conclude the information regarding the landform and river system in Southeast Asia. Okay, these information are used to produce a multimedia presentation. Okay, from my point of view, I believe that performance assessment is much better than traditional assessment. Okay, because for these LOs, by doing performance assessments, students need to carefully study, analysis, and make a conclusion regarding the topic. Meanwhile, the traditional assessments only require students to study and memorize the topic and then recall their notes regarding this topic during examination. Okay, for performance assessments, students also must pay attentive attention during the presentation since they have to answer the quiz right after the presentation. This will help the student better understand the topic. Okay, that's all.
My name is AUNI binti MAZLAN. Today I will continue my presentations. I'm going to talk about the learning standard about the subject we choose, which is HSP Form 5 in English. The chapter is Term 8, Right, Wrongs and Responsibility, page 115. The learning standards we show are students should be able to give opinions on social issues. It means predict the topic of a news article by studying the headline. Moreover, students can brainstorm ideas on the cases of the issues, brainstorm about possible solutions that will address the issues, and brainstorm ideas on the effect of identify causes and effect or implementing solution using creative organization. What is an essay question? A definition given a long time ago by John M. Stonecker appears to be most helpful. A test item which requires a response composed by the examiner, usually in the form of more than one sentences, of a nature that no single response or pattern of responses can be listed as correct, and the accuracy and quality of which can be judged subjectively only by one skill or informed in the subject. Next, how we build the essay based on Steineker's definition meet the following criteria. Steineker's definition meet the criteria. There are 5 criteria, but I will explain 2 only, and the other will explain by my friends. First, request examiners to compose rather than select the response. It means something in which the examiner or student has to compose or create rather than select from a list of options. 2. Elicit student responses that must consist of more than one sentence. It means it generally includes some form of writing, usually in the form of multiple sentences. The task should craft so the elicit from students only the knowledge and perform relevant to the learning outcomes to be assessed. Next, our question is, write about your experience helping Hannah, a teenager who is facing with social issues, and your story with social issues is not a joke. From that day, I learned a lot about myself while helping Hannah. Your story must be about 350 words. So, we use restrict response essay, which is poses a specific problem and express it within the page and time limits. Like you must write essay about 315 words only. Lastly, I will explain about essay question we choose. Number 1 is not only do students need to compose a response, but they also need to write several sentences in order to provide an answer that sufficiently meets the demands of the given task. Secondly, the task given to students in the essay question is constructed in such a way that it allows for different responses and response patterns. Moreover, the task allows for original responses and response patterns. Lastly, the grader must have a good understanding of the model to judge the accuracy, quality, and relevance of students' explanation and examples. In conclusions, essay questions require students to compose their own answers. However, requiring students to compose a response is not only the characteristic of an effective essay question. Essay questions are different from other constructed response items because they require more systematic and in-depth thinking.
Hi, so my name is Sumaya and I am going to explain another 3 criteria on how we build the essay question based on what Stonecker have mentioned in his definition and also types of criteria. So the third criteria is to allow different or original responses or pattern of responses, meaning that we are giving the students a chance to write based on their true experience. They did not need to use their thinking skills, and it is 100% originally based on their true story. And the fourth criteria is it requires subjective judgment by a competent specialist to judge the accuracy and quality of responses. It means that we need someone who is expert to check and also mark their essay. So in this situation, of course, teacher is the one who is expert. So teacher may check and also mark what have the students written on the paper. And the last criteria is provide student with an indication of the types of thinking and content to use. So it means that we are giving an opportunity to the students to write the essay based on their true experience and helping a friend who is facing a social issue problem. So now I will explain more about holistic rubric in general. So basically, holistic rubric, it means that when a scorer, which is the teacher, they reads the response and makes a single judgment of the quality of the response by assigning a numerical score. That means when the students have already written the essay on the paper, the teacher will read it and give judgment, and also the teacher will give the score to the students. And the second one is single grade is given to students based on the overall judgment of their performance. And lastly, after all of the processes above are held, scorer, which is the teacher, they may place the paper into 3 levels. The first level is below average, and the second one is average, and the last level is above average. Okay, so now we are moving forward to the basic approaches to the scoring of essay questions. There are 2 types of it, which are holistic scoring rubric and also analytic scoring rubric. So what are the differences between the 2 of it? So let's look and see. So for holistic scoring rubric, it is a single criteria rubric which is one-dimensional, used to assess participants' overall achievements. The performance descriptions are written in paragraph and also usually in full sentences. So the best example that I can give for this holistic scoring rubric is an essay, because every time we write an essay, we will definitely write it in paragraph and also in full sentences, right? So that's the best example for holistic scoring rubric. For analytic scoring rubric, it is 2-dimensional rubrics with levels of achievement as columns and assessment criteria as rows. It also assigns different weights, which is value, to different criteria and include an overall achievement by totaling the criteria, and it is written in table form. So the best example that I can give for this is maths equation, because every time we do maths equation, we need to list down step by step.
Hi and a very good morning. My name is FARAH HANNANI BINTI BAKRI, numeric 146504. Today I want to explain about holistic rubric that we made for an essay question. Mark range for E 44 to 45. The criteria that we look is the language is entirely accurate apart from very occasional first draft slip, and second, sentence structure is correct and show that the candidate is able to use various types of sentence to achieve a particular effect. 3. Vocabulary is wide and is used with precision. Punctuation is accurate and helpful to the reader. Spelling is accurate and helpful to the reader. Paragraphs are well planned, have unity and are linked. The topic is addressed with consistent relevance. And lastly, the blue is the interest of the reader is gross and sustained through the writing. That format range for A 44 to 45. Okay, next, format range B 38 to 43. The criteria is the language is accurate, occasional errors are error minor or first draft slip. Second, sentence structure shows some variation of length and type including with some precision. Vocabulary is wide enough and punctuation is almost always accurate and generally helpful. Spelling is nearly always accurate. Paragraph shows some evidence and the pace of writing is relevant to the topic. Therefore, mark range B 38 to 43. Okay, the next one is C 32 to 37. The language is largely accurate. Sentence structure are used without error, mistake, and vocabulary is wide enough to convey intended meaning, but may lack precision. Sentence may show some variety of structure and length, but there is a tendency to use one type of structure. Punctuation of simple structure is accurate, but but errors may occur in more complex uses. Simple words may be spelled correctly, but error may occur when more sophisticated words are used. The composition is written in paragraph, which may show some unity. The writing is relevant but may lack originality and planning. That's for C32 and 37. The language is sufficiently accurate to communicate meaning clearly to the reader. There will be patches of clear, accurate language, particularly when simple vocabulary and structure are used. There is some variety of sentence type and length, but the purpose is not clearly seen. Punctuation is generally correct, but does not clarify meaning. And so on. You can see vocabulary is usually simple word will be spelled correctly, but no spelling errors will occur. Paragraphs are used but show lacks of planning and unity. The topic is addressed with some relevance, but the reader may find composition at this level lacking in liveliness and interest value. The article is written in paragraph which may show some unity in topic. Lackness in tone may be a feature. Okay, for mark range E 20 to 25, criteria that we use is meaning is never in doubt, but single word error are sufficiently frequent and serious to reading. Some simple structure may be accurate. Vocabulary is limited error, too simple to convey precise meaning, or more ambitious but imperfectly understood. Simple word will be spelled correctly. Paragraph lack unity. The high incidence of linguistic error is likely to distract the reader. The article will have paragraph, but this lack unity length are incorrectly. The tone may be inappropriate for a talk. 40 to 19, meaning is very clear, but high incidence of short writing will definitely impact the reading. There will be many serious errors, and a script at this level will have a very few accurate sentences. Although communication is established, the frequent errors may cause blurring. Sentence will simple and very often repetitive, and so on. Punctuation be used correctly, but sentence separation error may occur. Paragraph will sometimes be used correctly, but sentence separation error may occur. Paragraph lack unity, and there may be frequent spelling error. The tone may be appropriate for a talk, or if it is, may not show understanding of the detailed requirement of the task. That's 2:30. The reader is able to get some sense. At this level, there may be only a few accurate but simple sentences. The content may be comprehension, but the incidence of linguistic error is so high. This type of script may also be far short of the required number of words. So teachers can give a mark range 0 to 7. The criteria is script in this category are almost entirely impossible to read. Whole section of the mark range 0 to 7. The criteria is script in this category are almost entirely impossible to read. Whole section of the essay may make little or no sense. Where occasional pages of clarity occur, marks should be awarded. That for mark range 0 to 7. Okay, lastly, I want to tell about advantages and disadvantages of holistic rubric. First, for advantages is emphasize on what the learner is able to demonstrate rather than what he or she cannot do. Second, save time by minimizing the number of decisions raters make. Raters is teacher. Okay, for disadvantages, holistic rubric does not provide specific feedback for improvement. Second, does not provide detailed information. May be difficult to provide one overall scope. that's all for advantages and disadvantages of holistic